The marsh air hung heavy as Emily sat by her bedroom window. Her sketchbook opened to a half-finished portrait of a stranger's face, someone who might see her. Downstairs, laughter spilled from the kitchen. Abigail was home from college, regaling Laura and David with tales of her latest debate team victory at Clemson. "Abigail's going places," David boomed, his voice carrying up the stairs. Emily pressed her pencil harder, the lines darkening. Her high school art award, framed on the wall, had earned a distracted, "Nice work, Em," from Laura before the talk turned back to Abigail's future. Emily didn't resent Abigail, she adored her sister's warmth, her ability to light up rooms. But every trophy Abigail brought home was a reminder. Emily was the invisible one. In Charleston, Abigail was the golden child, her charm a low-country sunrise. Emily learned to fade into the background, letting Abigail shine. Her sketches were her world, where she could be bold, seen. But the ache lingered. Her parents didn't mean to overlook her, but their eyes always followed Abigail. At 18, Emily left for Savannah, chasing a graphic design degree at SCAD. She rented a tiny apartment in the historic district, where gas lamps flickered and her art bloomed. Clients praised her logos. Friends saw her spark. In Savannah, Emily was no shadow, but visits to Charleston pulled her back to being the artsy dreamer. Never quite enough. At 23, Emily got a call. Abigail's engagement party in Chicago, where her sister had landed a high-flying PR job. Abigail was marrying Ethan, a tech entrepreneur with a penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan. Emily booked a flight from Savannah, packing a bottle of bourbon as a gift, hoping to bridge the gap between them. The Chicago venue was sleek, glass walls, candlelight, the city's skyline glittering. Emily wore a dress she'd saved for, her heart buzzing with hope. Abigail greeted her with a quick hug, her diamond ring flashing, but her attention darted to other guests, colleagues. Ethan's family. At the long table, Laura and David raved about Ethan's startup and Abigail's latest campaign. Emily tried to join in, asking about wedding plans, but Abigail waved her off. "It's all set, Em." The talk swirled, lakefront venues, custom gowns, a 200-person guest list. Emily sipped her wine, the old emptiness creeping in, like Charleston nights when Abigail's triumphs filled the air. Leaving the restaurant, Chicago's lights reflecting on the lake, Emily felt she'd flown 800 miles to vanish again. Back in Charleston, Abigail's wedding became a tidal wave. Family Zoom calls buzzed with her plans, a rooftop venue in Manhattan, imported peonies, a jazz quartet from New Orleans. Laura texted Emily photos of Abigail's dress, but never asked for her input. Emily offered to design the programs, hoping to contribute, but Abigail said, "Lila's got it covered," nodding to her maid of honor, a social media influencer obsessed with perfection. The slights piled up. Emily wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid, though Abigail had 14, including a distant cousin. At Laura's birthday dinner, Abigail texted her planner while David asked if Emily was still doodling. Each dismissal was a quiet wound. Emily booked her flight to New York, clinging to the hope that showing up would make her feel part of the family. But doubt whispered she'd always be on the edges. Looking in, the rehearsal dinner was in a Manhattan loft, exposed brick, string lights, the hum of wealth. Emily, jet-lagged from Savannah, wore a navy dress that gave her a flicker of confidence. She carried a gift, engraved whiskey glasses from Abigail's registry, expecting warmth. Instead, Abigail was the center of a laughing crowd, her bridesmaids and Ethan's relatives orbiting her. Emily caught her eye, smiled, but Abigail gave a quick nod before turning away. Emily's seat was at the table's end, next to a cousin who called her Amelia. Laura and David toasted Ethan. Lila ignored her. Emily asked about Abigail's Chicago life, the wedding's theme, but her words drowned in the chatter. Leaving the loft, New York's skyline sparkling, Emily felt like a ghost. The wedding was on a Manhattan rooftop, city lights blending with white roses. Emily wore an emerald dress, feeling briefly like she belonged, carrying Abigail's gift, a $900 cocktail mixer, a heavy symbol of her hope. The ceremony was flawless, Abigail radiant, Ethan devoted, Emily clapped, her heart lifting, thinking the reception might bring them closer. Then she saw the seating chart. Her name, Emily Carter, was scrawled in ink, unlike the calligraphy for others. Table 18. A waiter led her past elegant tables to a corner by the service entrance, where a folding chair stood. Her name taped on, near a stack of dirty plates. Emily froze, her cheeks burning. Lila passed by. "You're good here, right?" Before vanishing, Abigail laughed at the head table. Oblivious, the hurt crashed in, not just tonight, but every time Emily was sidelined. She placed the cocktail mixer by the cake and walked out, heart pounding with betrayal and resolve. Crossing the rooftop terrace, Manhattan's lights sharp and cold, Abigail's voice rang out. "Emily, why are you leaving? It's my wedding." Her heels clicked, her veil trailing. Emily paused, not out of hesitation, but to see if Abigail would finally see her. "You showed me my place, Abigail," Emily said, voice steady. "A folding chair by the service door. You couldn't even give me a real seat." Abigail's eyes widened. "It was a mistake, too many guests. I thought you'd be fine." Emily laughed, raw and bitter. "Fine with being invisible? You made room for everyone, strangers, co-workers, but your sister gets shoved aside." Abigail begged her not to make a scene. But Emily was done. "I've been your shadow my whole life. I showed up. I tried. You hid me. I'm done." She walked away, Abigail's voice fading into the city's pulse. Emily's heart heavy but free. Back in Savannah, Emily's phone buzzed. Laura's texts were sharp. "You ruined Abigail's day. Apologize." David called, stern. "This isn't how we raised you." Their words echoed years of being told to stay quiet. Let Abigail shine. Emily skipped the post-wedding brunch. Flying home, in her apartment, she painted deep blues, fiery reds, pouring out pain and defiance. Then her cousin Mia texted, "I saw that chair. Emily, it was wrong. I'm here." Mia's words were a lifeline. The first family acknowledgement of her hurt. Emily didn't reply, but the support grounded her. She turned off her phone, savoring the silence. Months later, Abigail posted an Instagram letter from Chicago, "To my sister." A polished plea, all soft filters, claiming she was overwhelmed and never meant to hurt Emily. The final line stung. "I never thought Emily would walk away over something so small." Comments flooded in, sympathizing with Abigail, urging Emily to forgive. But Mia commented, "A folding chair by the service entrance isn't small." Abigail. Doubt spread. Friends messaged Emily, some apologizing for missing her exclusion. Abigail's post, meant to paint Emily as unreasonable, began to crack. In Savannah, Emily stared at her phone, heart pounding with dread and determination. She didn't want a public fight, but she couldn't let Abigail rewrite her truth. She painted a lone chair against a stormy canvas, then wrote a blog post. "The seat I refused to take." She included a wedding photo, the folding chair, her name taped on, dirty plates nearby. She detailed her Charleston childhood, the Chicago dinner, the New York wedding, how Abigail's mistake was a lifelong pattern. "I left to save myself, not to ruin her day," she wrote. "Family shouldn't mean disappearing." Posted on her portfolio site and shared on X, it spread like wildfire. Friends, clients, even her old professor shared it. Mia texted, "You did it." Abigail's circle saw it, and whispers said she was rattled. For once, Emily wasn't in the shadows, she was shaping the light. The fallout was swift. Lila posted a blog, "Wedding Mistakes to Avoid," detailing the chair incident without names. It went viral. Reddit. Wedding blogs. A BuzzFeed list of worst wedding fails. Abigail's Instagram went quiet. Mia said she was avoiding Chicago's social scene. A package arrived at Emily's apartment, the cocktail mixer. Unopened. No note. Abigail texted, "I didn't know you felt so unseen. I'm sorry. Can we talk?" Emily stared, a flicker of hope stirring. But she didn't reply. The apology came only after Abigail's facade cracked. Emily turned to her art, opening her first Savannah exhibit. The centerpiece, unseen chair, drew crowds, some sharing their own stories of being overlooked. Emily had found her place. To everyone who's walked this journey with me. She wrote online. Thank you. You've seen me through shadows, heartbreak, and the courage to claim my light. If this moves you, share it. Keep carving your space at life's table. Here's to new beginnings. The Savannah night was thick with jasmine as Emily Carter landed back in her apartment. The hum of the city, a faint echo of Manhattan's chaos. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, each ping a dagger from Charleston. Her mother, Laura, texted in sharp bursts. Emily, you ruined Abigail's wedding. You owe her an apology. Her father, David, called, his voice heavy with disappointment. This isn't who we raised you to be. Their words stung, dragging Emily back to childhood dinners where she was told to hush. To let Abigail's star shine brighter. She stared at her sketchbook. The half-drawn marsh from home, now a storm of charcoal lines. She'd left Abigail's wedding not to hurt anyone but to save herself. Yet her family saw her as the villain in their perfect low-country narrative. Emily powered off her phone. The silence a bomb. She opened her paints, letting deep blues and fiery reds spill across a canvas, a rebellion against the years of being sidelined. Savannah was her sanctuary, where her graphic design work thrived, where friends saw her for who she was. But the ache of her family's rejection lingered, a weight she couldn't paint away. Then a text came through from her cousin Mia, who'd been at the wedding. I saw that folding chair. Emily, it was cruel. I'm here for you. Mia's words were a lifeline. The first time someone in her family acknowledged the unfairness. Emily's throat tightened, but she didn't reply. Instead, she poured her pain into her art, each stroke a step toward reclaiming her voice. Months later, Abigail broke her silence with an Instagram post from Chicago. Tagged, to my sister. The photo was soft-filtered perfection, Abigail in a cream sweater. Lake Michigan shimmering behind her. A handwritten letter in her hands. The caption was a polished plea. I was overwhelmed planning my wedding. I never meant to hurt Emily. I never thought she'd walk away over something so small. The post exploded, racking up thousands of likes. Comments poured in. You're so brave. Abigail, your sister needs to let this go. Strangers painted Emily as the petty one. The sister who stormed out over a seating chart. Emily's chest tightened as she read. Not just at Abigail's words, but at how her sister had spun her pain into a public sympathy grab. The internet was Abigail's stage, and Emily was cast as the ungrateful shadow. But Mia struck back. Under Abigail's post, she commented, a folding chair by the service entrance, with Emily's name taped on, next to dirty plates. That's not small. Abigail. The comment gained traction, likes climbing, replies questioning Abigail's story. Friends from Savannah messaged Emily. I didn't realize how they treated you. You didn't deserve that. Abigail's narrative, meant to bury Emily's truth, began to crack under the weight of doubt. Emily sat in her apartment, the glow of her laptop casting shadows. She didn't want a social media war, but she couldn't let Abigail rewrite her life. She opened a canvas, painting a lone chair against a turbulent sky, her heart in every stroke. Then she wrote her blog post. The seat I refused to take was raw but clear, a story of a Charleston childhood where she was eclipsed, a Chicago engagement where she was ignored, a New York wedding where she was hidden. She uploaded a photo from the wedding, the folding chair, her name scrawled on tape, a stack of greasy plates nearby. I spent $900 on a cocktail mixer, flew 800 miles, and showed up for my sister. She wrote, but family shouldn't mean disappearing. I left to save myself, not to ruin her day. She posted it on her portfolio site and shared it on X. Within hours, it spread like wildfire. Friends shared it. Her old SCAD professor tweeted, "This is courage." Clients emailed support. Strangers commented, "This broke my heart. You're not alone." Emily, Mia texted, "You told your truth. I'm proud." The post reached Abigail's Chicago circle, and whispers said she was shaken. For the first time, Emily wasn't in the shadows, she was holding the light. The fallout was electric. Lila, Abigail's maid of honor, posted a blog titled, Wedding Mistakes to Avoid. Without naming Emily, she described the folding chair, the service entrance, her own flippant, "You're good here, right?" The post went viral, shared on Reddit's wedding forums, picked up by BuzzFeed in a top 10 wedding fails list. Commenters raged. Who puts the sister in a corner like that? This is next level cruel. Abigail's Instagram went silent, her Chicago social scene reportedly on pause. A package arrived at Emily's apartment, the $900 cocktail mixer. Unopened. No note. Days later, Abigail texted. I didn't know you felt so unseen. I'm sorry. Can we talk? Emily stared at the message. A flicker of hope battling years of hurt. She didn't reply. The apology felt like a reaction to pressure, not a reckoning. Emily turned to her art. She poured her soul into a new piece. Unseen chair. A stark chair against a stormy low-country sky. She secured a spot at a Savannah gallery. Her first solo exhibit. The opening night was alive with murmurs. The room packed with locals, art students, even a few Charleston faces. Unseen chair stole the show. Its raw emotion pulling people in. A woman in her 40s shared how she'd been the forgotten sibling. A young man said he'd left a toxic family too. Emily stood by her painting. No longer invisible, her voice finally heard. She posted a final note online. To everyone who's walked with me through shadows and heartbreak, thank you. You've seen me claim my light. If this story moves you, share it. Keep fighting for your seat at life's table. Here's to new beginnings. The post spread, comments flooding with stories of others who'd felt unseen. Emily's exhibit sold out, her name now whispered in Savannah's art scene. She'd built her own stage. One where she wasn't a footnote but the headline. This story is for anyone who's ever felt like a ghost in their own family. Who's fought to be seen? Who's walked away to save themselves? Emily Carter's journey, from a Charleston shadow to a Savannah spotlight, shows the power of claiming your worth. Share her story, find your seat, and never let anyone tell you it's small.